So today we have one colossal fight on our hands. King Kong versus Engine Spinosaurus versus the Indominus Rex versus Rexy. Who wins? Oh, let's find out. So, with this being such a monstrous battle to the death, physicality is going to play a massive role. And in terms of size, they're all relatively the same. I mean, Rexy is technically the smallest one here, but only by a little, standing at 18 feet tall, 40 plus feet long, and weighing about 6 tons. Both the Spino and the Indominus are 20 feet tall, 45 to 50 feet long, and weigh anywhere between 6 to 7 tons. And Kong is 18 to 25 feet tall and weighs about 5 to 10 tons. So, who's stronger? Well, Rexy casually busted through a massive tree trunk and a Spinosaurus skeleton, casually flip over and push cars, overpower and kill a full-grown Triceratops, lift the Irex up and throw her on the ground with enough force to crack pavement, throw a Velociraptor with enough force to bust through a T-Rex skeleton, killing it, and to hold back a helicopter, and she only failed because she bit through the ladder. The Spino easily ripped apart parts of a plane, overpowered and killed a smaller T-Rex than Rexy by breaking its neck, bust through a massive metal gate, and easily flipped over a boat. The Indominus was able to send a car absolutely flying, easily bust and bite through bulletproof glass, overpower and kill an ankylosaur, as well as several long neck type dinosaurs, and she overpowered Rexy, even ramming her head first through a building. And Kong casually threw large boulders and cars, overpowered and killed 3 V-Rexes, break a V-Rex's jaw with relative ease, one-shot planes, and bust out of a theater building. With all that being said, I'd say they're all fairly even, but if I had to say, it's a tie between Kong and the Indominus, and then Rexy and the Spinosaurus are right behind them. But they're all strong enough to hurt each other for sure. Now moving on to durability. Well, Rexy easily shook off attacks from 2 raptors that were bad enough to leave permanent scars. She withstood a massive beating from the Indominus, including being rammed headfirst through a building. What makes this more impressive is that she withstood this beating while at an older age, shook it off, and kept on going. Although she's definitely not in her prime as well. And considering how hard Claire had to push that needle to get through her thick hide, Rexy might be bulletproof, at least bullet resistant. The Spino easily withstood a bite to the neck from a T-Rex, being set on fire by a flare gun, as well as being direct impacted to the face by a flare gun, and having its sail on its back hit by a plane, which should have at least paralyzed it, considering that the sail is its spine. And yet it just kept on going. The Indominus was bulletproof, as not even turret fire could hurt her. She easily shaken off attacks from Blue and her sisters, as well as Rexy, only momentarily stunned by a tail whip from an ankylosaur, and she got right back up after an RPG explosion knocked her over. And then Kong easily withstood attacks from the 3 V-Rexes, withstood a giant harpoon being impaled into his leg, being blown back by a military cannon, literally sent flying from it, and he endured being shot by several planes before eventually dying. In terms of raw durability, I'd say the Irex is better, since she's the only one that's proven to be bulletproof. Then it's the Spinosaurus, Rexy, and then Kong. But Kong has showed a higher pain tolerance than the 3 dinosaurs in this match. So, now moving on to speed. Well, when it comes to speed, when talking about Rexy and the Spinosaurus, not much can be said about them. Like, Rexy can run up to 35 miles per hour and keep pace with a speeding Jeep. We know the Spinosaurus can run and swim at fast speeds, but that's all we got for him. With the Irex, she can travel just as fast as Rexy, if not faster, and she even evaded an RPG missile. She also has the speed and agility of a raptor, but her T-Rex like size and bulk really limits her. Kong, on the other hand, can at least match them in travel speed and is definitely better in terms of agility and mobility. He's dodged an attack from a V-Rex from behind that he didn't know was coming, leaped and hit planes flying by him, quickly scaled up a skyscraper, and he got through a construction building as if it was a giant jungle gym. Now, when it comes to fighting, Rexy and Kong have the most experience. Kong single-handedly beat 3 V-Rexes and they were the dominant apex predators of Skull Island. He was the dominant protector of Skull Island for decades as well. Rexy, however, was the unrivaled apex predator on Isla Nublar from 1991 to 02 and then again from 2015 to 2018. She easily killed 2 raptors simultaneously, killed a full-grown Triceratops, took down a Carnotaurus with a bite to the neck, took down another Carnotaurus with a headbutt, and then she held her own with the bigger and younger Irex while out of her prime. But it's the Irex that has the highest kill count here. Upon escaping her enclosure, she went on a killing spree rampage and literally killed everything she came across. This included an ankylosaur, several long-neck type dinosaurs, 2 of Blue's sisters, and she definitely would have killed Rexy if Blue hadn't got involved. And then, although the Spino only killed one thing on TV, that one thing was a T-Rex. And although this T-Rex was smaller than Rexy, it was still a dominant predator. And the Spino also killed it in 30 seconds or less. Something else worth mentioning, however, is that Kong's fighting style is the most effective one here. It perfectly utilizes his limbs, his mobility, and strength, while the 3 dinos all basically have the same style, walking up and biting their target. I mean, the Irex also has long arms with razor-sharp claws as well, but you get what I'm saying. Moving on. Rexy is surprisingly the most stealthiest one here. She's ambushed the 2 raptors in Gallimimus in Jurassic Park 1, and then the Carnotaurus in Fallen Kingdom. Neither the people nor the dinos in those situations seen or heard her coming. She literally just popped up from out of nowhere despite her immense size. The Irex is the overall most intelligent one here, as she's an excellent strategist. She literally planned her escape from her enclosure, outsmarting everyone. She scared the flying dinosaurs so they would freak out, swarm, and take out the helicopter that was firing and chasing her. She even remembered where they implanted her tracking device in her skull, clawed it out, and used it as bait to lure in the Spec Ops people. She also has the ability to camouflage to her surroundings. Kong is also pretty smart as well, as he's smart enough to use things in his environment as a weapon, and he's an expert climber as well. The Spinosaurus is an expert swimmer, and although its arms aren't long enough to be used as weapons like the Indominus's, he did show that he could use them to hold or restrain prey, like he did with the T-Rex's neck in JP3. So, I think the location of this fight is very important factor. So, let's say that they'll be fighting in a wide open space, similar to that to when Kong took on the last V-Rex. Just wide open space. This way, Rexy can't be stealthy, the Spino can't swim, the Indominus can't use her camouflage to great effect and plan out attacks, and Kong won't be able to climb anything as well as use things in his environment as weapons. Now, something I need to mention before we get to the very end of the video, that this will not be like Kong versus the 3 V-Rexes, because although the 3 V-Rexes are directly comparable to the 3 dinosaurs in this fight, the V-Rexes were a family, pack hunters basically. Rexy, the Spinosaurus, and the Indominus are not family, quite the opposite. I mean, the I-Rex might try to communicate with them, like she did with Blue and her sisters, noticing the threat that Kong possessed, but I doubt Rexy and the Spinosaurus would go for that plan. So, as this fight starts, two separate fights are going to form, seeing that there's 4 of them. But no matter who fights who, I think it's going to come down to Kong and the Indominus, or maybe Kong and Rexy. Like, if Kong fights the Spinosaurus and the Indominus fights Rexy, then Kong and the Indominus would win their fights and face off with each other. If they swapped opponents, I believe the same thing would happen. Now, there is a chance it could come down to Kong and Rexy if the Indominus fought Kong first and Rexy fought the Spinosaurus first, but I think it's more likely that it's going to come down to the Indominus and Kong. Rexy's the smallest one here, and her claws are useless, and the Spinosaurus has a very exploitable weakness on its back. This is why I think it'll come down to Kong and the Indominus. And I've done the Indominus versus Kong twice on my channel, and Kong won both times. Only difference this time is that they're not starting this fight at 100%, as both have taken attacks from the Spinosaurus and Rexy. This is where the I-Rex's better durability could come into play. But I think it's more likely that Kong is walking out of this fight victorious over the 3 dinosaurs. Remember, it's a fatal 4-way, so literally any one of these 4 could win given the right scenario and a little luck. But at the end of the day, I think I have to side with Kong on this one as the most likely to win. Like I said, any of them could win, but my bet's on King Kong. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy, leave a comment of what you think, and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.